back. As you can see, look. Switch my wigs, make him feel like he cheating. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop playing. So, a couple of things to get in order today before I get into today's chat. Guess who turned 2 years old? Keeping it a buck with me. That's my confetti. I just want to say thank you to all of you guys who have been there with me from the jump. Like when the quality was trash, when I didn't really have a setup, all that stuff. And I'm still not where I want to be, but I thank y'all for riding with me. I thank y'all for being able to see my growth, my journey through this YouTube stuff. Like 500 subscribers, I'm not mad at that. I know that that's not big in YouTube numbers, but I feel like the people who watch my stuff, they get something out of it. And that's why I started this. And that's all I really wanted, you know. So people will get in tune when they get in tune. These videos are going to be around for a very long time, unless YouTube like takes them away. But yeah, I feel really grateful that people even want to listen to me, that people even want to know what I have to say, and that y'all rock with me. Like that's all I can say about that. So happy birthday to my baby. Thank y'all for just tuning in. So as we're into the new year, one of my goals for the channel is to get back to some of my more quick, give you some of my thoughts and get on about your way. I got into this flow somehow where I felt like every time I recorded, I needed to be putting out like depth, whole bunch of content out, you know, and it wasn't purposely like 30-minute, an hour-long content that I was going for, but like the subject matter, I just wanted to be as thorough as possible. But I really want to get back to just giving you all a few gems and sending y'all on y'all way, you know, 15, 20 minutes tops, and that being it. And I realized the way that I need to go about doing that is by pairing some of the content that I'm putting on my business Instagram. I'm realizing that a lot of this stuff I can align and make it a little easier on myself. So that's kind of what I'll be doing, is just trying to keep a theme that matches up with the content that I have to create for my business Instagram anyway. So one thing that I've been doing recently with that page is therapy gem of the week. So usually somehow, you know, maybe twice a month, I have a really good session that gives me a nugget, like something I didn't even think about, that like, you know. And that's the thing about therapy, is my clients learn from me, but I also learn from them. I get inspired by them. And I'm really grateful for that. And so what I've been doing is I've just been taking like a concept or something that seems like to really hit home for me, or that's been really important in a session over the last week, and yeah, I've just been putting it into tweets and posting it, and you know, all of that, and just giving it to people the way that I gave it to the person in the session. And so I'm gonna start just doing a video on my therapy gems of the week, and as I kind of come up with posts to just complement, you know, the content. And so today we're gonna be talking about complacency, and the reason how this came about. And I try to use my clients' stories in the most discretionary way possible, because I can't lead you all to how we got here without giving you a piece of it, right? So I'm working with a couple, and we've gotten to the point where they kind of hit a wall, right? Like I've been working with them for a while, but they've hit a wall, and we're trying to figure out, at this point, where do we go on this crossroads? Are y'all gonna like start doing the work? Or are y'all just gonna decide that this isn't it, that it's time to let this go, you know? And so we got to a point where there was a discussion about, let's do this time frame, you know, 30 days or 60 days. I think it was 60 or 90 days, where we sit and we kind of decide, well, no, I'm saying that wrong. So they gave each other 60 or 90 days to implement and really make an effort to see the changes that each other needs, to see how capable they are of really being intentional about meeting these needs, and then seeing where they are when that 60 to 90 day period is up. And so in the midst of having that conversation, the girlfriend is like, or the wife is like, I feel like when I ask him what he needs from me, he says everything is fine. And I asked him, I'm like, you don't have nothing you want her to change, nothing you want her to do better. And he's like, well, no, I think she's great. And for her, she's like, I know that's not true, because even I know that I am not loving you and meeting your needs to the highest degree that I possibly can. And so a light bulb went off, right? Because if a person is in a relationship and yes, no relationship is perfect, but let's say it's not up to par. You can really say that you probably aren't satisfied, but you're saying it's cool. I'm all right. It's okay. But is that enough for love? Is that enough for marriage, to just be okay, for it to just be cool, So it got me thinking. I'm like, you just seem, the wife, she isn't complacent. She wants more out of life, out of their relationship, out of her personal endeavors. And he's just kind of like coasting, He's just kind of like, I'm all right. It's all right. It's cool, And so I'm like, if you don't want or can't see that there is more for you to want in your relationship, in what other areas of your life are you also applying this same logic? Are you also kind of holding yourself back from things being exponentially better than what you're allowing them to be by just being okay with the bare minimum, in a sense? And so I asked his wife, I said, is there any other place in his life that you feel like he is complacent, where he has that same attitude that he has towards you all's relationship? And she said, yeah, I think he's like that at work. And I asked him, I said, do you like your job? You hate your job? And he like, I don't really like it. Okay, so what are you doing about that? Because see, for men, so much of how they feel about themselves, how they feel about who they are in a relationship or who they can be or the type of spouse they can be is reliant on them being able to be where they want to be in life when it comes to like their stability, their security, their finances, right? And so to hear a man say, I don't like my job, the job in itself does not create a lot of convenience for them to have a more compatible, cohesive schedule as far as seeing one another, spending time together. Because it's like, it's one of the situations where he's always tired. Or, when he does have some downtime, like he don't want to do couples therapy homework. He wants to relax. He doesn't want to sit and like have deep talks with her, stuff like that. And so I'm just like, do you think if you had a different job, maybe with different hours, that would spill over and make you all's home life better? You would have more energy. You would want to make more of an effort to do certain things. And he was like, probably. I said, okay, so what keeps you from going after that? And it became, I said, is there a fear? Are you worried about being disappointed if you take a risk? Because, for some people, especially like our parents, right? Because I'm mainly talking to millennials, but for people who are in older generations, they grew up seeing you work one job, you give your all to that job, you're loyal to that job, you go through all the bullshit that job puts you through for the sake of being grateful that you have a job, right? That's security. And millennials like, fuck that job. Okay, I don't, to sacrifice my mental health, to not have the type of schedule that I need in order to be present in my family and in my relationship. Is that more valuable to me? Could I not find something else? But see, the thing is that fear of failure, that risk runs deep for people. And so that makes them more reluctant to step out on faith. And that's what he said. He said ultimately it came down to like, I've been disappointed, and just and he's been in a space where he's been disappointed and he's really taking that to heart. And so that in itself will keep a person stagnant. It will keep a person stuck. And so it all kind of made sense to me, because that's the thing, right? And that's what my post on Instagram and Twitter started with, is the fact that like I feel like complacency is a transferable character flaw. It's very rare that you see a person is only complacent in one space in their life, right? It usually goes across. And let's be clear, like, I think sometimes people get complacency and being content confused, right? Because, and I'm going to reference what I wrote to make sure I don't jack it up. I said the difference between contentment and complacency is that contentment says I'm full with what I have. But complacency says I'm not satisfied with what I have. I could probably have more, but I've accepted what it feels to go without. When you're used to dealing with the bare minimum and you've convinced yourself that that is enough, that that's okay, you put yourself in a box. You start limiting all of what could be, you know? And so just to get back to my point, let's talk about, like, how do we get into a place where we start to accept complacency? So usually that is rooted in the fact that, like, somewhere down the line, people have either downplayed your dreams or what you felt like you could really do in life. They put you in a box. In childhood, it starts, whether it be your parents or teachers or people telling you that this is all you would be good for. It's just that. Mediocrity. Not people that spoke life into you and says you could do whatever you wanted to do, as long as you're willing to do the work, you know. People, you looked at your parents' lives and you figured, like, it seems like what they have is good enough. Or that I could never be in a position to want more, or to not necessarily want more, but to receive more. When in all actuality, we can. So another way we fall into complacency is taking failure and disappointment so personally to the fact that we internalize it and we let it keep us where it's safe. Because that's what it is, right? Anything that's worth achieving is a risk. And when we feel like we don't have whatever it is that we need in order to, like, jump over that, we get stuck. We get complacent. We convince ourselves that this is okay. And like I said, just to refer back to that example I gave, he had convinced himself that in his relationship, he's okay. And that's the thing, right? Is it's not that the issue with that situation is the fact that his partner is clearly telling him there are needs that you're not meeting. There are needs that I need you to meet in order for us to stay in this relationship. And he's still okay with the state of the relationship. Like, I think if she didn't push for them to be in a better space, he wouldn't be the one to be like, yeah, this ain't working. He would sit and ride that out. And that's where the problem lies. It's like you would stay just because, you know, and they've been together for a long time. So it's like you would stay in this place where you're not really getting all your needs met. Your partner isn't happy or as satisfied as they could be. And you're willing to stay in it. You know, so that's where we really see that's where the problem really lies, is the fact that, like, we could not be okay with something, and complacency tells us to be okay with it. It tells us to accept it. And that's the thing, like, as we grow and as we change and get older and all that stuff, our needs change, our wants change. I don't want the same things that I wanted 10 years ago. I want different things. And some of the things I do want, I do still want, but I want them in a different capacity. I want them on a different scale. You know what I mean? And so complacency says, like, what filled me 5 years ago will fill me today. Because it's a stuck in the past mindset. It's a not growth. It's a non-growing concept where, again, it shouldn't, like, again, I'll use their relationship. They've been together for like 10 years. You can't expect your partner to be who they was when you first met them. You should actually expect that things are supposed to change. When you grow with your partner, all of, like, what you want, what they need, all of that starts to, it may not shift drastically, but things come up and you have to be willing to make those changes with them or the relationship doesn't work. But it keeps us in a box. So if you're in a place where you feel like you could possibly be settling, it's probably because you're complacent. Because in my mind, like, the two go together. Like, complacency leads to settling because It's rooted in fear. It says that like what I have is good enough because what I actually want is either going to A, take too much work, B, seems too out of reach, or 3, it'll require more of me than what I'm willing to give. And I also have to address that, right? Because the other reason people get complacent is they don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the work. They are okay with doing and getting and receiving the bare minimum. Even though deep down, because that's where it lies, right? Is people won't tell you this unless you really have a rapport and you ask them like, you even happy? Are you okay? Are you even? And that's the thing, right? Because I don't like to base everything on happiness, which I'm going to do another a chat on at another day. But are you fulfilled? Are you satisfied? Are you even content? Because if you're not either one of them things, then you probably complacent. So another thing I want to note is the fact that complacency can also be very beneficial to anybody that deals with anxiety, because anxiety is so fearful of the unknown. And what do we have to do when we want to go up? We want to progress. We want to go up another notch. We want to elevate. We have to take a risk, so those are two opposites. Anxiety says like, let me stay where it's safe. Let me stay where I know things are okay. Think about, like I said, the idea of how many of our parents worked the job, right? They didn't, that anxiety of like, I'm not leaving my job because I don't know what else is out there. I don't know if it's going to pay me the same, or I don't know if it's going to put food on my table. They didn't want to, there was no, a lot of people, for them, it was no stepping out on faith. Because that anxiety was like, nah, plan, we cool. We cool right here. But the thing is like, our anxiety usually asks us the question, what if we fail? But it never sits and entertains the idea like, what if I succeed? What if I win? What if I do this? And then playing out all the wonderful and beautiful scenarios that could take place in the event that you succeed. So giving yourself a fair shot at life is, yes, anxiety is going to be there. Fear is going to be there. You're going to sit there and you're going to analyze all the things that could go wrong. But let's sit and look at what could go right. That's how you start to beat out complacency. It's just allowing yourself to entertain and go after the fact that there is more you could probably achieve. There's more that you could have in this world than the bare minimum. Okay? So wrapping this up, it's never too late to recognize the fact that you've been complacent. Sometimes it's not even, because some people may think like it's a lazy thing, like you just don't, you don't want to do the work. And some people don't want to do the work, but sometimes it's more, it usually goes beyond them being lazy. It usually goes internally to the fact that they are scared. They don't want to fail. Who wants to fail? Nobody wants to fail, but it's a part of growth. We're not going to hit every mark that we go for. That's just not going to happen. But would you want to at least say like, I tried? Or you just want to go through life being like, you never even gave it a shot. So how do we grow out of a complacency? Get in tune with yourself. Understand what you really desire. Some people are walking this earth and they don't know what their interests are. They don't know what they're passionate about. Or they think that what they are passionate about, that there is no way to turn that into, whether that be monetization or growing in whatever aspect, career-wise, that they want to. So get in tune. Understand like what it is that you want to do. Look at people who are doing what you want to do. Use that as inspiration, not as, oh my God, like I'm never going to be able to do those things as good as they do. But as an idea of like, okay, somebody else has made this happen. That means I could probably do this too. I just got to find my own way. I got to find my own niche. And also assessing the steps that it takes to get there. So many people sit on ideas. They sit on stuff that they know they need to do. Get your ass up and start planning. Okay? Get up, start figuring it out. with this YouTube stuff, I didn't know what I was doing. It really took people getting in my ear like, gee, just start. Just do it. And that's really where I feel like we thrive at. It's just by doing it. Don't wait for everything to be perfect or right or for the right person to come along and put you on. You have to start the work yourself. So you want more, you gotta get up and go for it. You gotta push through those fears and those anxieties. And that's the thing, right? As I tell people, it's okay to be fearful. It's okay to be anxious. Because Lord knows I am. Anytime I do something big, huge anxiety behind it. But I can't let that stop me. It's never, anxiety and fear is never a good enough reason to not go after something that you are truly passionate about. Something that's your dream. That's never a good enough reason. Because when you look back, you're going to realize, like, I let feelings, because that's all fear and anxiety is. It's feelings. I let feelings stop me. Not running into a wall when it comes to money or access or networking, but feelings. You don't want your feelings to be the reason you don't do something in that capacity, if that makes sense. Not forever, but in those instances, unless it's like somebody offering you a business deal, it don't sit right in your spirit, that's different. That's discernment. But we don't abort the mission. We change the route. We change the plan, but we still get into that destination. And then lastly, you got to consider the positives of taking that risk and ride those out. We give so much weight to all the bad shit that could possibly happen. Let's sit and entertain what could go right and embrace that and then feel inspired by that and empowered by that. And if it doesn't go the way we planned, okay, we figure it out another way. But it's all of that, trying and failing, is much better than being complacent. It's much better than like living a life where you feel like you're going to look back and you're going to have all this shit that you wish you would have done. I don't want no regrets. So even if I go after something and it don't work or it don't fail or whatever, at least I tried, and follow through is so important. It's not enough to think about something. That's one thing I get turned off from when dating is like a man who has all these ideas, right? Where are your steps? Where are the plans? Where are the actions? Where is the blueprint? Ideas are cool. We all got them. But an idea without a plan is just a dream. So let's bring things to fruition. Okay? And the only way we do that is by getting serious and making efforts. Not just hoping the shit falls in your lap. Like, that is, turn off. Please go after what you want. Because you end up in a relationship with a go-getter, with somebody who wants more out of life. Like this couple, you're going to reach a wall. Because here she is like, this ain't, I want more than this. I'm not where I want to be, but I know I'm going for more than this. And I see you just kind of like letting yourself be okay with getting up every day and going to a job you hate. And that's the thing. It's stuff like work, career, purpose. It spills over into your home life. If you are not satisfied with what you do on a day-to-day basis, you're not going to be able to see how you can take anything else to the next level, because you haven't even figured out how to take yourself to the next level, let alone your relationship. Okay? So, before I let this go on too long, because I can ramble. I'm going to end this here. No more complacency in 2021. We're going after what we want. We're making plans. We're networking. We're doing all the things that we need to do to get ourselves out of unfavorable, shitty situations so that we could be the best person that we could be. And we can look back and know that we don't have no regrets. Okay? So, y'all have a good one.